doing a quick recording here of Fortnite. We are playing on the E3 1270 paired with the RX 570. And yeah, we're testing out Fortnite here. We're just playing a solos game. And the settings that we were playing on, quickly go over here, are on Epic. And then later on the video, we'll try high, medium, and low settings, all at 1920 by 1080p. And yeah, they pretty much just released this new map here and everything for Fortnite just a couple days ago, so it'll be interesting just to test the performance on this system. The CPU compares very similarly to an i7-2600, so yeah, for comparisons that's what you can use. Yeah, as well you can watch the FPS counter either at the top right hand corner of the screen, which is puny, or the top left. The top left is MSI Afterburner running, so you can see like CPU usage, GPU usage, FPS, and a couple other stats. Yeah, the main thing is just keep your eye on the FPS counter and observe the gameplay, because if I experience any stutters, a recording will capture it, and we are using Radeon Relive, which is part of the RX 570 graphics card to record the gameplay, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, and if you do want to just see, like, for example, the low settings, I recommend skipping ahead in the video, probably to about 6 or 7 minutes in, and we'll be testing out medium and low settings around that time. Yeah, we're just going to run around here. We're on epic settings, so it looks like we're staying anywhere just around 70, it's gone up to 80 there for a second. I'd say anywhere from about 60 to 80 FPS is what you can expect. Smooth, which is nice. Yeah, whole new map and everything, so it's kind of cool. That's epic settings. I think it's pretty much 2 minutes there just running around. Just run around a little bit more, and then I'll switch it over to high settings quickly. Don't want to take too much time testing this out, but yeah, epic settings, about 60 FPS. Go to settings, switch them down to high. I'll be leaving epic view distance, just as one setting that doesn't really affect performance much, but is a large quality of life improvement. High settings, running around. Right now it says we get 100 FPS, 90. But what I can tell you, it will vary, like depending on where you are on the map, how many players are around you, and what you have to load in. That's where closer to the end of this recording we'll get to see a better idea of what the performance will be like around other players, because that's when the storm shrinks and that's when there are more players around. They even added fishing to the game, which is interesting. Running around at high settings, it says we're staying around that 100 FPS mark, which is interesting. Overall, the RX 570 is a perfect 1080p gaming graphics card. You can play at most games high settings above 60 FPS. Obviously, some games will be more intensive than others. They'll need more, I guess, computing power. But yeah, we're just testing Fortnite out here, and this can give you an idea when comparing to other games as well. So we will be switching it down to medium settings now, and we'll run around a bit on them. I think medium settings are one of the nicer settings to play at. You get a nice balance between performance and visual quality. Currently 150 frames. So for playing solos and duos, you can get very high frame rate, as we can see here, which is nice, especially for like a shooter game where you need fast reaction times. Continue running around. You can build quickly. Well, I can, but I'm not too good at the game, but I'm good enough to test performance, which I think is very important to do. So, just to give you, the end user, an idea of like what kind of performance you can expect. Yeah, just running around medium settings. What I will do is I'll switch them down to low now. Medium settings you can get anywhere pretty much like 100. Oh, it's dipping down there a little bit. 80, 90. That's good to pick up. Alright, switch them down to low settings. There we go. And to understand how you get certain frame rate is basically like in the game there's two main things that stress your computer. There's your CPU and there's your GPU. For I guess certain parts of the game where it's more CPU intensive, that's where you're going to be limiting the graphics card potential. So for example, we're on low settings, which won't strain the graphics card as much, but because I guess our CPU has to work harder, we're limited by that. So it's like our CPU can only put out so many frames per second, so that's kind of how we're limited. But overall, you can see that's why it fluctuates here on low settings, anywhere from, what were we looking at, anywhere from like 80 to like almost 200 frames per second, depending on where we are on the map, how many players are around us, and other variables. So it's not always super straightforward, but what you can look for is like look for what's the worst case scenario. So it would be like, okay, does it stay above 60? Yes. Does it stay above 80? Gets close to 80. So the main thing is to always watch, like if you're buying any system, it's to watch for like, okay, what's the worst case scenario for frame rate or experience, because your frame rate can be good, but if you have like, let's say, bad 1% low numbers, which basically means like you're jumping from 120 FPS per second down to 40 and back up to 120, but super quickly that you end up with like a tiny micro stutter, then it's not such a great experience. Alright, let's see what's around here. Oh, there's other players here. We'll probably die any second, but that gives you a nice idea of how the system does perform. Guess they weren't too good, but almost sounded like there were other players around here. Oh, someone else sees us. But do we see them? And I don't think so. Oh, they're behind us. That's why we couldn't see them coming. There you go. That's kind of what I wanted to end up showing, is kind of like when there are, oh my god, there's a lot of players around here. We're getting shot at again. Just wanted to show, like, when you are around other players, you can, like, your game's not going to freeze or crash or anything silly like that. I'm not good at aiming, but let's see what we have going on here. So I have to watch out for players behind us. problem we're in now is that they know we're here. It's dark, so it's hard to see. This is not good. Just got a rocket launcher. There we go. That wasn't too bad. Oh well. Anyways, I'm gonna end the recording there. It's perfect time. Pretty much 11 minutes, 12-minute video. And we went over all the settings here from epic, high, medium, and low. And yeah, this is I guess the chapter 2 version of the game. So I was wondering if performance changed. It doesn't seem like it has. And again, we were playing on a Xeon E3 1270, which is very similar to the i7 2600, paired with the RX 570. And if you guys are interested or have any questions, send me a message. Thanks.